Well, we've got the fairy tale final. We've got the two French giants going head to head in the final of the top 14, battling it out for the Bouclier de Brennus. Will it be for Joe Worsley? Would it be 22 for Toulouse if they win?
I'm not sure, but that
24
sounds
maybe.
Right.
It's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's ridiculous, isn't it? One club's won that many, and they didn't win it for 40 years. They 40 years they didn't win a single title. Unbelievable, isn't it?
That's nuts. That's a great stat. Hopefully, you got some more stats where that came from. Of course, the rising power in French rugby, and now rivaling Stade Toulousain, is UBB, one of Joe Worsley's former clubs. And so you're not remotely neutral going into this one, are you, Joe?
Not at all. After last year, them getting absolutely pumped in the final, rocking up with a half-injured team. This time, that's not the case. They got a few knocks. I hear Louis Biaberry won't be playing. I hear Coleman might not be playing, but that didn't seem to affect them too much against Toulon. Maybe in a final, those two players will be vital. I mean, they're going to miss him. Coleman, the physicality he brings, the mauling ability he brings is huge. And Louis Biaberry, best winger in the world at the moment. So you don't want to be missing him. But still, they looked dominant against Toulon.
Let's talk about the first game on Friday night first off. So we had Stade Toulousain against Aveyron Bayonnais. That's my team. That's my adopted French team. And first thing to say is that I've watched a Rugby World Cup game, a couple of Rugby World Cup games in that stadium. The atmosphere just looked wild.
Yeah, it's a great stadium, isn't it? It's incredible. The game itself, though, live, I thought, okay, Toulouse are winning this after a short while. But you look back at the stats, it's not quite like that. Bayonne dominated territory and possession. They had nearly as many opportunities in the opposition 22. They just didn't finish them off. It wasn't quite the dominant performance I came away live feeling it was. So Toulouse are not at full tilt at the moment. They're not operating. They've been smashed a very poor Lyon. They lost in Perpignan, and now they've had that semi-final. I know they had the week off before. Maybe they're rusty, but they're not quite that threatening, dominating team that went into the last final. It's probably UBB are the guys really threatening more than them.
Yeah, they had a bit of a cushion in the end. The one thing that you do want to have going into knockout rugby, and which they definitely had, was an absolute ice-cold killer of a kicker. And Thomas Ramos his goal kicking was on the money. And like you say, because it wasn't actually as comfortable as you sort of felt, only when you dig into it, it wasn't. It's a good job they did have him as well.
Yeah, because the ball in play was really low. It was like 26 minutes. There was a lot of mistakes. It was a real classic semi-final where the pressure comes on and people are double guessing what they're going to do. Then they're thinking twice about stuff. Balls go down, and this is what happened. It was a really nervous game because Bayonne obviously is the first time in 42 years they played in the semi-final. So for them, you can understand why. But for Toulouse, again, they are nervous at the moment. They're not quite there. I think their defence is pulling them up at the moment. Jack Willis's turnovers are huge feature for them, and I think he'll be one of the big players in the final to see how he does. And you're right, Ramos is the other one. He is ice cold. He'll kick it from anywhere. You give a penalty away in your half, and they'll just be racking up the points.
We've got to talk about Dupont because it's not even, like you just alluded to it there. It's not even what they lose in him as a player, but like the mojo that comes with standing in a dressing room with that guy, walking out on a pitch with him, that all that intangible stuff seems to be having an impact.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about it. Other teams are smelling blood, and Bordeaux especially. They're livid still about last year. They still want the European Cup would not have sated that desire to smash Toulouse in this final. They're going to come at this raring to go, and one of the reasons they're probably going to be more confident is because Dupont's not there. Really, as soon as you lost him, that team was weakened significantly because he's the world's best player, and when he's gone, the backup player ain't going to be quite as good, is he? So Grout has done as well as he can, but yeah, he's not in the class of Dupont, we could say that. And Luke has stepped up and really pulled his finger out as well, and he's on fire.
Yeah, no doubt. So just tell me a little bit more about that. What do you pick up? You spent a lot of time in France, obviously, since that final last year. What or just picking up from people you know in Bordeaux or the fans, what former players? What's just get us into that mindset and the sentiment following last year.
But they did have a sacré saison, so they had a great year, and the team was threatening. I think this year they've changed slightly. We'll get into that, but that final they did limp into. So you had Jalibert on one leg, Ben Tamafina had severe injury as well, and a couple other guys were missing. They didn't have the same recruits they got this year, who have given them more physicality and power. Now, that led to them getting absolutely trounced by Toulouse in a very one-sided game. And that would have been a burning motivation in their head. As soon as pre-season started, you'd be thinking, and they have beaten Toulouse regularly this year. Toulouse are the team. I think they just want to choke them out. And the final, the coup de race is this weekend. They're going to go into this game flying, psyched up, ready to go. That first Brennus is enormous for them. And remember, French clubs, they do care about Europe, but not as much as a Brennus. And especially a club like UBB, who've come from a long way back, and now they're in a position where they can win a Brennus. It's going to be they're going to be motivated through the roof. And they got characters, and I don't think the character with Lucu, Jalibert, Lamotte, you got players there who aren't going to be bothered by this pressure. They're going to embrace it and go for it. They're not going to be crushed by the pressure and not play their rugby. They know they're going to turn up, do what they do. I really, really think UBB are going to win. Not easily by any stretch, but they're going to win. Jack Willis doesn't pull his greatest game he's ever played out of his back pocket, then I think UBB will win by 2 scores.
Well, just before we move on to that other semi-final, we can talk about what Bordeaux did to Toulon. But Bayonne, this will be regarded as a successful season, right? Like, got themselves into the playoffs, like you say, first time in forever.
Yeah. Definitely. I was 5 when they got in the last semi-final. But the season for them is a massive success. This club, they've got a project in place. We'll visit Bayonne again, I'm sure. They're building the stadiums, getting renovated. They've built a great training centre. They're recruiting young Basque players to come up, and they're coming up through their team, and they're getting this identity of their team in place. And when you get that at a club, you get that strong identity. We're Basque, we're stubborn, we fight, we do this, and they got the facilities and the financial power to buy good players to compete at that level. Then you see a project like Bayonne can pay dividends. They're still mid-table in terms of budgets, but with the ethos they've got and the passion for rugby in the area, I'm sure now they're being well run, and they've got a vision that's going to take them forward in the future. I'm sure they'll maintain their position as a contender, at least, to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, their fans are nuts as well, which is really cool. But yeah, like I'm minded to agree with you that I think this is going to go down as Bordeaux's year. I'd never ever write off Toulouse with the players that they've got, but it was more one-sided than I expected. In the end. The second semi-final in the end.
Yeah, I mean, again, there it's Bordeaux most possession territory, but really, I don't think they're bothered about, unless it's ridiculous, of having possession or not. I'm not sure it bothers them at all. It's those moments where the ball's turned over, but poor kick, someone gets fast ball, or one of their X-Factor players just pulls something out of his arse, and it's amazing. So they can do all these things. They're not fussed about having the ball or not, but 22 entries, like I always go on about, is a big indicator of how well a team does. And I think one of the big things about that performance is there wasn't a huge difference between Toulon and UBB in that side of things. UBB was just very efficient when they got the 22, but also, I mean, just that Jalibert instance, they can pull tries like that out. I'm hopeful we'll paint that on. It was a great clip from one of the corner cameras. A scrum launch, Mafana got really good go forward, and after that Jalibert got the fast ball, and the wing was free. Penaud was completely free, and in a fraction of a second he's seen it, locked it up, putting the inch perfect kick into Penaud's hands, and try time. It's just moments like that they can do, which means their efficiency in the 22 is through the roof. They got a Maul, which can compete and does really well as well. So they got these two sides of the game that can come together in the 22, and they can score loads of points, realise loads of points. With the tenacious defence they have as well, the defence I think is third best in the league. So the defence is tenacious enough, despite their freedom to play. They're a team who can defend and not concede many points as well. So it's just a great recipe they got at the moment. They can defend, they can kick. Burros, Luku, Jalibert can kick a mile. You can lose that battle, but then you try and take them on at that, and you one bad kick, and then bam, they're going to counter-attack and go at you. So it's just got an incredible on-form team at the moment.
I want to know then, like, because these are like two heavyweight prize fighters, right? And one way that Toulouse, we've already touched on, one way that Toulouse can, throw the jab out and keep Bordeaux at a distance is by Jack Willis winning turnover pens and Ramos knocking over the 3 points, applying a bit of scoreboard pressure. What is the little weak link that if you were Hugo Mola and his team, you might identify in Bordeaux? I know that there's not many weaknesses in either team, but
I think Toulon tried to play a territory game. I think they tried to be pragmatic and make them play in their half, and they completely failed to do that through errors. I think they were being quite pragmatic with their plan at times. Now, will Toulouse do the same? No, Toulouse have their ethos. So remember, Toulouse, as soon as you get involved in the club's built on great individuals who can win one-on-ones and read the space in front, but the people around them understanding what's happening. With this player can do this is probably going to happen, and supporting him. That's what everything's built on there. And they'll never get away from that. They might have a few little strategy changes around a launch play or a kick-off, but honestly, Toulouse don't change. Their DNA is set, and it's why they can do it so well. So they'll go out there. If they get an offload, they're going to play on top of it. If the ball's very slow after a phase in their half, they'll kick it and chase it down. They're not going to change that. They just want to do it well. They've got to do it better than they've done it. And that's why you miss Dupont, because he can create opportunities himself, but also when someone else makes the offload or gets fast ball, it's him who's there supporting, and it's him who makes the right decision about to carry, to pass, and where to go to the space. On top of that, he can kick amazingly well when it's necessary. So when you're missing that guy, it's why the whole Toulouse team is less threatening when he's not there.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I'd still love it to have finished a week or two earlier so that all of the players would have been available to head to New Zealand. But by the sounds of it, there's going to be a few of them that are going down. Maybe not for the first test, but it's going to be an absolute...
I actually popped into the French team hotel. It's not far from my house. After they won the game at the weekend at Twickenham, went to watch it. A few friends from Cast were playing, went to say hello. Gaetan Barlow was the hooker. Had a good game. He's off to New Zealand as well. Just chatting to catch up. Saw Sean Edwards, who's a little bit worried about going to New Zealand with missing so many players. Worried about... He's shown the players already the last game they played in Paris, where France just about won it, but New Zealand played really well, to be fair. Ball in play for like 40 minutes. When you're used to ball in play for 30, 31, 32 minutes, it's going to be a big step up. So yeah, I was just chatting to him about that. But all the players that are going are very excited about it. But yeah, it's a shame some of those incredible players like Natamak and people like that are not going, because I don't think he's ever played New Zealand.
Did I miss that? I don't know if there's been an official announcement of the squad. Obviously, the players that are going know they're going. I
think they had a squad meeting after Saturday, but I think
maybe that was okay. Maybe there was a training squad that was named. Okay, fine. Well, we'll definitely be revisiting that closer to the time, because I mean, despite the fact it won't be full ball France, it's still going to be a pretty tasty series nonetheless. So definitely be getting into that. One of many things that are coming on the channel. And how have I got to this point? I haven't even mentioned this is your home of French rugby in the UK and Ireland, live Pro D2 all next season, and one of many reasons to make sure, if you haven't already, hit subscribe.